Imagine for a moment that long before Columbus set sail, the legions of Rome had crossed the Atlantic. Picture Roman triremes slicing through uncharted waters, their sails full, the eagle standard flapping against the wind, and Roman soldiers gazing at a coastline teeming with strange forests, rivers, and civilizations unknown to the Old World. Gold glitters in their eyes. Exotic fruits, towering cities, and powerful new allies wait beyond the horizon. Rome, the eternal city, the empire that once ruled the Mediterranean, now has the chance to claim a continent, and with it, rewrite the destiny of every civilization that comes after. But what would this mean for history? Would Rome's reach stretch across oceans to create an empire unlike anything the world has ever seen? Or would this bold venture spell catastrophe for both worlds? Stick with me until the end, because by the last scene, you're going to see a world both familiar and utterly unrecognizable. The point of departure, a leap across the Atlantic. Our story begins around 100 CE during the reign of Emperor Trajan. Rome was at the height of its power, vast legions, unparalleled engineering, and a hunger for conquest that had no equal. Yet in our timeline, the Atlantic remained a mysterious, dangerous void. In this alternate history, Roman curiosity is paired with innovation. Roman navigators, inspired by reports from Phoenician traders and observing Atlantic currents, developed sturdier ships capable of carrying men and supplies over thousands of miles of open ocean. A fleet of 10 triremes set sail westward, their mission a blend of exploration and conquest. After months at sea, the fleet sights land, the eastern shores of what we know as the Americas. The Romans are cautious. They document the coastline meticulously, noting rivers, harbors, and fertile lands. For the first time in history, Rome has crossed an ocean, laying eyes on a continent untouched by the Mediterranean powers. This is the divergence point. Everything that follows flows from this single audacious voyage. Rome now possesses the potential to reshape the entire Atlantic world centuries before any European nation even dreams of exploration. First contact. The meeting of worlds. Rome's first landing is in the Caribbean, where they encounter thriving, organized societies with agriculture, trade networks, and religious traditions as rich as those of Rome itself. Initially, there is curiosity on both sides. Roman soldiers present iron tools, glassware, and wine, while native peoples offer maize, cacao, and exotic timber. But this encounter is not without tension. The Romans' military discipline is overwhelming. Native peoples, accustomed to regional conflicts rather than continental-scale warfare, are wary. Small skirmishes erupt as misunderstandings flare. Yet over time, mutual benefit fosters alliances. Some tribes see advantage in Roman technology and join the newcomers, while others resist. Through this mix of trade, diplomacy, and coercion, Rome begins to establish a foothold. They build fortified settlements, which they call Nova Roma, designed with Roman roads, aqueducts, and public baths. Here, on the banks of tropical rivers, Roman engineers and native builders collaborate, blending concrete and stonework with local architectural styles. Already, seeds are planted that will dramatically reshape both continents, the blending of cultures, technologies, and ideas. And yet, the real transformation has only just begun. The American provinces of Rome. Within a generation, Roman influence spreads inland. Legions march along newly built roads, bringing military might and engineering prowess to the heart of Mesoamerican civilizations. Native leaders who once commanded city-states now negotiate with governors of a distant empire that spans oceans. Roman roads cut through jungles, aqueducts channel fresh water, and markets flourish where maize, potatoes, cacao, and tomatoes exchange hands for iron tools, wine, and glassware. Cities like Tenochtitlan and Teotihuacan become hybrid metropolises, their pyramids and palaces adorned with columns, mosaics, and Roman inscriptions. The influx of gold and silver from the Americas transforms the empire's economy. Rome no longer faces the shortages that historically undermined its currency and military campaigns. With newfound wealth, emperors can fund larger legions, construct monumental infrastructure, and expand their influence into Northern Europe and Africa more aggressively. But Rome's rapid expansion across two continents introduces a host of challenges. Logistical difficulties strain supply lines. Disease travels in both directions, with native pathogens entering the Mediterranean and Roman illnesses reaching the Americas. Political tensions arise as governors in the New World wield unprecedented power, sometimes challenging authority in Rome itself. Shifting the balance of power in the Old World. Back in Europe, the infusion of wealth and food from the Americas reshapes the empire's trajectory. Staple crops like maize and potatoes spread throughout Roman territories, reducing famine and stabilizing populations. With stronger armies and a richer treasury, Rome is better positioned to repel Germanic incursions and maintain control over distant provinces. The ripple effect is dramatic. Economically, Rome becomes self-sufficient, less dependent on trade with hostile Eastern empires. Politically, ambitious generals and senators leverage New World wealth to strengthen their factions. Socially, Roman citizens experience a level of prosperity and diversity never seen in the historical record, with exotic foods and materials from the Americas reshaping everyday life. Meanwhile, rival powers in Europe, like Celtic and Germanic tribes, observe Rome's unprecedented expansion with a mixture of fear and fascination. The balance of power shifts decisively in favor of the Mediterranean superpower. Rome is no longer just a regional hegemon. It is on the path to becoming a true transatlantic empire. Native America's transformation. Rome's arrival reshapes the Americas as dramatically as the New World transforms Rome. Native societies gain access to steel weapons, Roman cavalry tactics, and advanced engineering techniques. Fortified cities rise in places that were once dominated by walled ceremonial centers, and native rulers consolidate power to match the Roman governors. Religious syncretism emerges as Roman deities blend with native pantheons. Imagine Jupiter standing beside Kukulkan, statues of Mars guarding plazas alongside sacred pyramids. Architecture evolves, agriculture expands through Roman irrigation, and trade networks span entire continents in ways previously unimaginable. Yet resistance never disappears. Some leaders reject Roman authority outright, waging guerrilla campaigns that test the limits of imperial control. These conflicts, though localized, plant the seeds of an enduring tension between colonizer and indigenous sovereignty, a theme that will echo through centuries. Midpoint twist, a world on the brink. Here, the story escalates. By the 3rd century CE, Rome's Atlantic provinces have become wealthier and more influential than many Mediterranean territories. Political tension in the Old World intensifies as senators argue over the New World's spoils. Civil wars break out with new ferocity, fueled by resources unimaginable in our timeline. At the same time, in the Americas, hybrid societies emerge, blending Roman law, roads, and military organization with native governance and religious traditions. A new social order takes shape. Roman governors ruling over city-states that combine the grandeur of Rome with the richness of Mesoamerican culture. And yet, danger looms. The logistical challenge of managing 2 continents separated by thousands of miles of ocean begins to strain the empire. Can Rome maintain cohesion in a world that now stretches across hemispheres? Or is this grandeur sowing the seeds of collapse? By the way, if you're fascinated by how ancient empires could reshape entire continents, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. You'll want to see the next alternate timeline we explore, where history takes an even wilder turn. The fate of the empire. With American wealth and food, Rome is better equipped than ever. Legionaries are paid in gold, food security prevents famine-driven rebellions, and cities flourish with unprecedented infrastructure. The empire may now be capable of resisting historical threats like the barbarian invasions, or even transforming them into new client states. Civil wars still occur, but their stakes are higher. Governors in the Americas occasionally defy orders from Rome, carving out quasi-independent realms. Yet, the sheer economic and military advantage Rome gains from transatlantic trade allows the empire to recover from setbacks more quickly. Technology progresses faster as a result. Roads and aqueducts in the New World accelerate urbanization. Printing presses, gunpowder, and even naval innovations emerge centuries ahead of our timeline, inspired by the unique challenges of managing a cross-continental empire. Long-term impact. A transatlantic civilization. Fast forward a millennium. The Americas are no longer mysterious lands. They are integral parts of a transatlantic Roman civilization that dominates Europe, Africa, and the New World. Cities rival the grandeur of Rome itself, trade routes span continents, and societies reflect a rich fusion of Roman and native traditions. Religion evolves dramatically. Christianity spreads earlier and farther, blending with native beliefs. Military technology, agriculture, and science advanced centuries ahead of our history. The very concept of a nation-state is transformed. Rome's enduring presence prevents the fragmentation that historically led to medieval Europe. Global exploration is revolutionized. With the Americas integrated into the Roman world, further expansion into the Pacific and Africa is inevitable. The map of the world is rewritten, shaped by a single empire's ambition that dared to cross an ocean. Conclusion: the eternal question. Could Rome have truly held together an empire spanning 2 continents? Perhaps. The wealth, technology, and military might would make it possible. But Rome's history is also one of political intrigue, corruption, and internal strife. Even with America, the empire might eventually fracture, leaving behind hybrid civilizations, part Roman, part indigenous, that continue to shape the world. One thing is certain: if Rome had discovered America, the timeline of human history would be unrecognizable. The world might never have experienced the Dark Ages. The Renaissance would happen centuries earlier, and the balance of power across continents would look entirely different. If this journey through a Roman America captivated you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss our next alternate history exploration. And while you're here, check out the video on your screen next, where we ask the question: what if the Roman Empire never fell? The worlds you think you know might just be entirely different.